Did you know that INFJs, one of the rarest personality types, are also the most likely to experience emotional burnout due to their innate vulnerability and deep empathy? Combine this with Brené Brown's groundbreaking insights on vulnerability, and you unlock a transformative key to personal growth. Introduction. Vulnerability. What does it mean for an INFJ? For a personality type that thrives on deep emotional connections and intuition, vulnerability can be both a strength and a double-edged sword. Brené Brown, a leading researcher in shame and vulnerability, suggests that embracing vulnerability is the cornerstone of authentic living. For INFJs, understanding how to navigate this complex emotional terrain can lead to unparalleled personal growth, resilience, and even healthier relationships. In this video, we'll dive deep into how INFJs can harness Brené Brown's teachings to transform vulnerability from a perceived weakness into their ultimate superpower. INFJs often struggle with vulnerability. Why? They are highly empathetic and sensitive to the emotions of others, making them feel exposed. Their idealism drives them to avoid situations where they could be perceived as weak or flawed. A fear of rejection or misunderstanding often leads INFJs to withdraw instead of opening up. This avoidance creates a paradox. While INFJs long for deep, meaningful connections, their reluctance to embrace vulnerability often keeps them from forming those bonds. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Society frequently equates vulnerability with weakness, fragility, or lack of control. For INFJs, who are naturally introspective and perfectionist, this misperception can be particularly damaging. They may feel that to be vulnerable is to risk being seen as incapable, flawed, or unworthy, an uncomfortable notion for a personality type, driven by their ideals and a deep desire for meaningful connection. However, Brené Brown redefines vulnerability in a way that resonates deeply with the INFJ experience. She describes it as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Rather than being a weakness, vulnerability is a courageous act of embracing life's uncertainties and opening oneself to connection and growth. For INFJs, this can be a transformative mindset shift. INFJs are private by nature. They tend to carefully guard their innermost thoughts and emotions, sharing them only with a select few. This caution stems from their intuitive ability to sense others' intentions and their past experiences of being misunderstood. The result? INFJs often suppress their vulnerabilities to appear more self-assured and to avoid emotional pain. But this suppression can come at a cost. By avoiding vulnerability, INFJs may miss opportunities to form genuine, deep connections with others, feel isolated and misunderstood, even among friends and family, struggle to process their emotions fully, leading to internal tension and burnout. Brown's groundbreaking research shows that vulnerability is not about weakness, but about strength and courage. It's about showing up authentically, even when the outcome is uncertain. For INFJs, this means recognizing that sharing your fears, struggles, or dreams with others is a courageous act. It demonstrates trust and self-acceptance. Authenticity is powerful. Vulnerability allows INFJs to show their true selves, fostering deeper and more meaningful relationships. Embracing emotional exposure, whether in relationships, careers, or creative endeavors, is essential for personal growth and fulfillment. Begin by sharing a small, meaningful aspect of yourself with someone you trust. This could be an opinion, a fear, or a personal story. Gradually, you'll build the confidence to open up further. Whenever you feel vulnerable, remind yourself that vulnerability is strength, not weakness. Journaling about these moments can help you shift your mindset. Seek relationships and environments where you feel safe to be authentic. INFJs thrive when they are surrounded by people who respect and value their openness. Celebrate moments when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. Reflect on the growth, insights, or connections you've gained as a result. By redefining vulnerability, INFJs can unlock their inner strength. Instead of viewing it as a risk, they can embrace it as a powerful tool for self-expression, connection, and resilience. Vulnerability becomes the bridge between their rich inner world and the external world they seek to impact. It's not just a skill to practice. It's a gateway to authenticity and fulfillment. For an INFJ, understanding vulnerability is not just about courage. It's about reclaiming the parts of themselves they've hidden for too long and realizing that the very things they fear revealing are often the keys to their greatest strengths. INFJs often give too much of themselves, leading to emotional exhaustion. Brown's research emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries as an act of self-love. INFJs can honor their empathy without overextending themselves by saying no when they need rest, communicating their needs honestly, recognizing that vulnerability includes self-care. Shame often traps INFJs in a cycle of self-doubt. Brené Brown's concept of shame resilience teaches that vulnerability can counteract perfectionism. INFJs can practice this by sharing their struggles with trusted friends, challenging their inner critic, acknowledging that imperfection makes them relatable and human. Storytelling has been an integral part of human culture since the beginning of time. It is how we make sense of the world, share wisdom, and connect with others on a profound level. For INFJs, who are natural visionaries and deeply empathetic, storytelling is more than a skill. It is a way to express their truth, bridge understanding, and inspire change. However, for many INFJs, the idea of sharing their personal stories can feel daunting. They may worry about being judged, misunderstood, or appearing vulnerable. Yet, as Brené Brown emphasizes, storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to embrace vulnerability and foster connection. INFJs often carry a rich inner world filled with ideas, insights, and emotions. But this inner world can remain hidden if they don't share their stories. By embracing storytelling, INFJs can sharing personal stories invites others to connect on a deeper, more authentic level. INFJs have a unique way of weaving meaning and purpose into their narratives, which can inspire and motivate those around them. Telling your story can be a therapeutic way to process emotions, gain clarity, and find closure on past experiences. INFJs often feel misunderstood. Sharing their perspective through storytelling helps others see the world through their lens. For INFJs, the fear of vulnerability can hold them back from sharing their stories. They may hesitate to speak up because they feel their experiences aren't significant enough, or they fear their emotions might overwhelm others. Here's how to overcome these barriers. Your experiences, no matter how small they seem, can resonate deeply with others. Remember, someone out there needs to hear what you have to say. Begin by sharing your story with close friends or supportive communities where you feel safe. Your story doesn't have to be perfectly crafted or polished. INFJs excel at active listening, which helps others feel understood and valued. Use this skill to create safe spaces for open dialogue. Authenticity is a two-way street. Share your desires and boundaries to ensure the relationship is mutually fulfilling. Quality matters more than quantity. Focus on nurturing relationships that align with your values and emotional needs. Deep connections take time to build. Allow relationships to develop organically rather than rushing the process. For INFJs, authentic connections have the potential to being understood and accepted, reduces stress, and fosters inner peace. Meaningful relationships challenge INFJs to grow, offering new perspectives and opportunities for self-discovery. Authentic connections counter the INFJ's tendency to feel isolated, providing a sense of community and support. Despite their longing for genuine connections, INFJs often face internal and external barriers. Fear of vulnerability and self-doubt can prevent INFJs from fully showing up in relationships. Recognizing and addressing these fears is key to cultivating authenticity. Not everyone values or seeks the depth that INFJs crave. Accepting this reality helps INFJs focus their energy on relationships that truly matter. Authenticity isn't limited to personal relationships. INFJs can bring the same principles into professional and social contexts. Foster genuine collaboration by being transparent and approachable. While maintaining professional boundaries, seek out communities that align with your interests and values, where deeper connections are more likely to form. For INFJs, the ability to cultivate authentic relationships is both a gift and a journey. Brené Brown's insights remind us that vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's the gateway to meaningful connection. By embracing their true selves and seeking out relationships that honor authenticity, INFJs can experience the profound joy and fulfillment of being deeply understood. In the words of Brené Brown, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. For INFJs, this practice can transform their relationships and their lives. Failure is often seen as a sign of weakness, a roadblock that prevents success. But in truth, failure is one of life's greatest teachers. Brené Brown's philosophy on vulnerability highlights the importance of rising strong after setbacks, a lesson particularly relevant to INFJs, who are both idealistic and deeply self-critical. For INFJs, learning to embrace failure as a stepping stone to growth is transformative. INFJs hold themselves to high standards. Their perfectionist tendencies and deep desire to make a meaningful impact can make failure feel personal and overwhelming. INFJs tend to internalize failure, seeing it as a reflection of their worth. Failure can trigger a wave of emotions, from frustration to shame, that can be difficult for the highly empathetic INFJ to process. As natural caregivers and supporters, INFJs often fear that their failures will disappoint those they care about. Brené Brown emphasizes that failure isn't the end, it's a beginning. Rising strong means choosing resilience, learning from the experience, and transforming pain into purpose. For INFJs, this requires shifting their perspective on failure. Every setback provides valuable information about what works and what doesn't. Each time you rise after a fall, you develop emotional resilience and inner fortitude. Failure fuels creativity. Challenges and failures can lead to innovative solutions and new ways of thinking. To embrace failure as a growth opportunity, INFJs can follow a process that aligns with their reflective and intuitive nature. INFJs often suppress their emotions to appear composed, but unacknowledged feelings can fester. Allow yourself to feel the disappointment, frustration, or sadness that comes with failure. Understand that failure doesn't define you. It's an event, not a verdict on your character or potential. Use your natural introspection to analyze the failure. What went wrong? What could you have done differently? What lessons can you take away? Instead of viewing failure as a dead end, see it as part of your growth journey. Ask yourself, how can this setback shape me into a stronger, wiser person? Rising strong means getting back up and trying again. Use the insights gained from reflection to inform your next steps, and don't let fear of future failure hold you back. INFJs have unique qualities that make them exceptionally capable of turning failure into growth. INFJs can intuitively grasp the lessons hidden within a setback, allowing them to adjust their path with clarity. Their understanding of others' struggles helps INFJs relate to and learn from the experiences of those who've faced similar challenges. INFJs can envision how their growth from failure will lead to a brighter, more purposeful future. For INFJs, failures in personal relationships or professional endeavors can be particularly painful, as they often invest their heart and soul into their commitments. To rise strong in these areas, acknowledge your part in the dynamic and take responsibility for your actions without taking on unnecessary guilt. Use the experience to foster healthier communication and boundaries. Recognize that setbacks don't negate your talents or potential. Reframe failures as opportunities to refine your skills and find roles that align more closely with your values. INFJ vulnerability exposed. What Brené Brown doesn't tell you. By rising strong, INFJs can use their setbacks as a source of inspiration and motivation. Their experiences with failure can deepen their empathy, strengthen their resilience, and fuel their drive to make a positive impact. In the words of Brené Brown, you can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability. For INFJs, embracing failure is an act of courage, one that leads to profound growth and a renewed sense of purpose. Each time they rise, they embody the strength and authenticity that are the hallmarks of their personality. Failure isn't the end of the road for INFJs. It's a turning point, a chance to rise stronger, wiser, and more aligned with their true selves. INFJs often get lost in their big-picture ideals. Brown reminds us that vulnerability also means being present in the here and now. INFJs can practice this by expressing gratitude for daily joys, allowing themselves to feel joy without fear of loss, celebrating their progress, no matter how small. Vulnerability is the heart of the INFJ journey, and Brené Brown's research provides a roadmap for turning it into a strength. By redefining vulnerability, setting boundaries, and embracing imperfection, INFJs can unlock their full potential. Authentic relationships, personal growth, and resilience are all within reach when INFJs dare to show up as their true selves. How do you navigate vulnerability as an INFJ? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more insights into the INFJ personality and personal growth strategies. Together, let's embrace vulnerability and unlock the power of authenticity.